Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
And we are going to spoiler talk Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Well, that was goodly timed. Nice.
Wow.
Goodly's not a word. Okay. So, I did enjoy this movie.
It's
Overall,
a fun movie.
I had a lot of fun with it.
Do not watch this review if you haven't seen the movie yet.
Right.
Spoilers.
We're doing the spoiler talk. The spoiler-free is up, so if you want to see my spoiler-free review of this, you can check that out. Right now, we're just going to get into it and spoiler talk that, and why don't we just get into it and start with the positives? Like, what did you find positive?
You go first.
Me go first. I said this in my spoiler-free, but I thoroughly enjoyed the expansion of the wizarding world.
Definitely.
Like Hogwarts, England, secret stuff, all that. That was so cool. That was
but it
really
was all
cool.
wizarding communities we saw, except for in the 7th
Yeah,
movie.
I liked that this was 1929. I liked that it was in New York City. I liked that we got to see how the wizarding world works in other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed getting to see all of that. So it was a cool, interesting take. I also liked through 8 movies, we watched schooling. So we know how they get schooled. We saw
know
how
how
they
they
learn.
learn, yeah.
We learned all the little things. This was cool in a way, kind of a payoff to see them be adults, to see these characters as grown-ups, and to see them in the real world. The no-mages and the mages alike.
And no mages are muggles.
Yes, which we're just going to stick with muggles because
Yep.
that's a terrible name.
I agree.
Yeah, so like that was really cool. It was really cool to see the expansion of that universe. It was really cool to see them just be adults and do the stuff as adults. So like that was
Well, and
cool.
see what it's like in the real world.
Yeah.
It just was really cool.
Yeah, so that was one of my biggest positives with this.
Mm-hmm. Well, so this one's both positive / negative. So, and it's more positive than anything, but I really liked Jacob, the muggle friend that they picked up in this movie that was friends with Newt. Like, I felt like him and Newt had a great connection. My slightly negative, not a huge fan of Newt's. I liked Eddie. I felt like he did a great job, but I felt like the direction that was put on him, just not my favorite.
Yeah.
Like,
He was really hard to connect with.
So Rachel Wagner, if you haven't seen her channel, definitely check it out. She mentioned on your review, your spoiler-free review, that that she felt like Newt mumbled a lot, so it was really hard to connect. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's negative. We can get into that in a minute.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I really enjoyed Jacob's character. He was a lot of fun.
Yes.
He was like, and you know, he kind of accepted being that there was magic in the world pretty quick. But he just, like, you do, when he goes into the case for the first time.
Oh yeah, and
sees
he's
the
bouncing,
beast,
trying to get in because he can't fit.
yeah,
That was
he
hilarious.
he has this wonder, like he doesn't doubt
Yeah.
that it's happening. There's this amazing wonder, and he what is the words? What does he say? Like
I'm too dumb to imagine this. That's how I
Yeah,
know this
he's
is
like,
real.
that's
Or
how much-
it was something like that. We're still
something,
getting it wrong.
yeah,
but
and
yeah.
so I really I liked his reactions. It's just I enjoyed that character a lot.
No, he was a great character, and where Newt was kind of awkward, and it was hard for me to connect with Newt, I was connecting with Jacob right away.
Yes.
Like, he rounded that out. Like, he
Yeah.
was the true partner in that partnership that kind of completed it.
Yeah.
And he was great. Like, he had a lot of great moments. Like, when they were catching the 3 animals that got out of the suitcase, and Newt was doing that mating dance to catch the giant
That was a
rhinoceros-looking
great
thing.
moment.
But Jacob spilled all the pheromones on him, so then the giant rhinoceros thing starts chasing Jacob and all these, like he just had so many great moments. Or when they go to the bar and he drinks the giggle juice.
The giggle
And he
juice.
takes a sip, he's like,
That's pretty awesome.
that was pretty awesome. And so, like,
well, and it's funny because there's a serious moment. He's like, well, oh well. It was great.
like, he was such a fun character. So, like, in those awkward places where I wasn't connecting with Newt, or I wasn't connecting with Newt's love interest, you at least had Jacob doing his random moments or whatever.
And his love interest wasn't really a love interest. They just
Whatever. We'll get into
they
that.
got
Yeah.
along well. And
We'll get into that later. But the point is like, so, like, in all those other awkward places, there was Jacob that I could really connect to. He was a really
and it's probably
fun
because
character.
we're muggles.
Yeah, it's probably because we're muggles.
And so we could totally get it.
He was our connection into
Yes.
this world, basically. So it was, I don't know. It was really cool.
Well, and their friendship was really cool too. Like it felt good.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it worked, and I liked it.
Yeah. One of the other positives I liked, I felt like there was a lot thrown on us in the stories.
Yes.
Like, they threw like 3 or 4 big, heavy things on us. They kind of smoothed it out as the story went. But one of the stories that they threw on us that I liked, there was this group called Second Salem. It was this crazy mean group, and it was like one woman that led it, and she just wanted to watch witches burn.
She believed they existed.
I feel like I caught how she knew they existed, except for maybe Ezra Miller's character, his mom, like Credence's mom or something. But the thing that was interesting about the storyline of them bringing in Second Salem was it really gave you a reason to know why the magic people wanted to keep their lives a secret.
Yes.
Because you really got to see the hatred and prejudice in this group's eyes. And so when you saw that, you're like, yep, they talk about it in Harry Potter, that they don't, protect the muggles, they don't want to be prejudiced against and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in this movie, you kind of really got to see that. And Ezra Miller, he played this character, Credence, who was very key to the plot in this. And I thought Ezra Miller did a really good job in his part because he played a very shy, very broken character. And he pulled that off really well. He was one of these ladies adopted kids into this house, and he and his little foster sister
there's
Modesty.
Two sisters, Modesty, and I don't remember the other one.
Well, Modesty was the one that you see most because they want you to believe she's the child that Colin Farrell is trying to get.
Yes.
Because we'll get into that in a second, but he whenever he gets into trouble, he has to take off his belt. He has to hand it to that lady.
And then she whips him.
Oh, and then she whips him. And, you get the pain in his eyes. And then you have Colin Farrell, who's there trying to mend his wounds and build up his self-esteem. And I really thought Colin Farrell was his dad, the way he came.
For a moment, I felt like he was his dad, too. But then there was a huge reveal that made me say, nope, that's Grindelwald. Because he had the Deathly Hallows
basically...
arm.
The main plot of this movie, where you get the closest thing to a villain you're gonna get, apparently when magic people were being persecuted, like some of the children would push in their magic.
Yeah, it's because they knew it was bad, so they would hold it in as much as they could, and because of it, it reacted in their body and turned into this black mass.
Yeah, it took on
destroys.
Yeah,
things.
it took on a life of its own and would act crazy through them and eventually kill them.
Yeah,
and even Newt had to deal with that and. He talked about it. He did it in Sudan, and he helped separate that from an 8-year-old girl, but the girl still died. Yeah, so you get some of these tragic things in there. Yeah. So you get the idea that whatever this black cloud of whatever, because it had a super weird name.
I can't live past the age of 10.
Like everything else, it's crazy. Yeah. And so basically, you think Modesty is going to be the girl that has this black cloud. They definitely
do a lot of things to make you think it's her.
So Colin Farrell really thinks Credence is of no help to him.
Yeah,
so then
he thinks he's a squib.
So he drops him like a ton of bricks, which makes Credence really sad, and Credence turns into this giant black mass because he figured out he was somehow so powerful that he could actually control it.
He learned how to control it at some point, and he's the only one to this point that's known how to control it. And Colin Farrell's character wanted to control this because he wanted to use it to not destroy the magic world, but basically to reveal themselves to the muggles, the human race, or well, they're all humans, never mind, to the muggles, and therefore, put wizards in their proper place above the humans, the muggles.
I looked at him very much as the Magneto of the wizarding world.
Voldemort.
Well, yes, but more Magneto, because it was really just...
It just felt exactly like Magneto.
We mutants, magic people will take over! And it was just that kind of thing.
But we're powerful, or why
and then you find out that Colin Farrell was this guy Grindelwald, which we find out in the first huge plot they try to throw on us and don't spend a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Grindelwald, who really has been a magical terrorist.
He's just a dark wizard.
Yeah, and so when the movie opens in New York and you have this black mass destroying a building and they try to say it was a gas leak and all that stuff... you're thinking it was Grindelwald, but really it was the black mass that was inside of Ezra Miller.
Yes.
And it turned out Grindelwald was there trying to get a hold of that and control it. Yes. And so it was, I don't know, it just felt like there's a lot going on. The story kind of smoothed it out as it went, but they threw a lot on us all at once. But I thought the second Salem group...
Because there was 4 things, and there wasn't really a strong villain in this.
Yes. The second Salem group was very interesting. Ezra Miller's character, I felt really bad for him. So I hated that he ended up dying in the end. And then even the good...
Did he?
Yes.
Are you sure? Because at the very end, we look up, and there's a little thing that kind of flitter-ups and goes over the side.
I suppose that they'll turn him into some monster by the 5th one.
Maybe he'll be back. We don't know.
Maybe he will.
But at this point, we're to assume he's dead.
I'd rather see him as the Flash than continue to come back and do this, to be honest. So, let's let that franchise win Ezra Miller's contract. Anyway, so, the second Salem group was interesting. When they got a little bit into the Black Mass thing, which it took more than half the movie to finally introduce this element and then wrap things up, which I guess that fits into my negatives. And then, but I don't know. So, Then Johnny Depp is revealed as Grindelwald at the end of the movie.
And you only see him for maybe a minute and a half.
For like a minute and a half. So like, I don't know. I felt like I just said a mouthful, but that's kind of what this movie does. So let's hit our negatives.
Well,
and that
the
for
only
me,
other positive we wanted to talk about is the Beast. We didn't really go
Oh,
into any
yeah!
detail about the
We
Fantastic
didn't.
Beasts yet.
Oh, my gosh.
And, sorry, you talked about it a lot in your spoiler-free, but we have to say, they're very difficult names, but the Beasts were just so much
they really
fun.
were awesome. Yes.
I mean, you should talk... His favorite part.
My favorite was like the little
Mine too, probably.
duckbill platypus creature that just didn't have the beaver tail.
So cute.
But like he gets
And
out of
funny.
the suitcase at the very beginning. He escapes in a bank and he likes shiny things. So he goes in there and
He
steals
just wants to break out and get a shiny thing.
Yeah,
That's
so-
all he cares. Shiny, shiny, shiny.
Yeah, so he steals all the money. He steals all the jewelry. He just gets in there and just...
He doesn't want it, like, spend it. He just wants to hoard it.
Yeah, and I don't know where he puts it. He like puts it in the fold in
I
his
know.
belly.
And, well, it's funny because Newt, when he captures him the first time, just holds him upside down.
Tickles
and,
him.
like, tickles him. And literally, like, the pile of stuff that's underneath him afterwards, it's like 10 times the size of his body.
Yeah.
But it's magic.
But like all of these animals had personalities. And it made them... There was like one that could see probabilities of the future. And he's like this... He
I
looked
forgot
like
about that one.
this little wise monkey.
Yeah, he did.
And he was just awesome. Like, so like... A lot of these animals had their own personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And then Newt, who both Laura and I had a hard time connecting with because he mumbled, because he was so
And
introverted.
it just didn't look like he was making eye contact
Yeah,
with
and so
anybody.
his character was hard to connect with. But when his character was with the animals, like when you went...
he was like, you could connect to him.
Yeah, when you went into the suitcase with him, like he just came alive when he was connecting with the animals.
Well, and you see his passion. I mean, there are these two elephant, like, mastodon, like, animals.
Oh, yeah.
That he said these are the last male and female. And now there's two babies there. He's like, they would have killed them. And these would have been extinct forever.
Yeah.
And so he just has a desire to keep these animals alive and to, like, help them flourish and to grow. And that's why he came to New York, is because he was trying to take one back to Arizona, of all places. He released it in New York instead because for the plot, but he
because the plot said so.
he found this one chained up in Egypt, and he's like, this is like the only one of his kind. Why are we doing this? So he's like, we shouldn't be chaining these creatures. We need to let them be. And so he has this like peaceful coexistence of these animals inside, and he like makes sure they're fed, and he's like friends with them. He talks to them. It was just awesome. I really like that.
Yeah. So, getting into the negatives, one of the things I didn't like, so Newt was hard to connect with.
Yeah.
That was a negative. Except for the animal moments. It was like, oh, cool. Then
And you started to connect with him more towards the end.
I didn't really feel like it. Like, I didn't feel like he came too much out of his shell, to be
No,
honest.
not too much. Well, it's because he was introverted. It just
Yeah, I know,
hard to
but you
talk.
gotta do like a full introversion. I mean, lots of movies pull that off well. This one, I just had a hard time connecting with him. But then you had the lead girl in this, who I guess was gonna be his love interest, but no love happened. I don't know. I had a hard time buying the chemistry between the two.
Mrs. Gold something.
Mrs. Goldstein. Her first name I can't even pronounce, so I'm not even gonna try. It starts with a P. So, like, I don't know. Like, I just didn't feel much chemistry in friendship or romance. And
No, not between him and the girl.
and she just, I don't know. There's something about her I didn't connect to. Now, Jacob had a love interest,
Yeah.
and it was the other lady's
Sister.
sister who could read minds. And she and Jacob were freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like...
It was just cool when Jacob, like, would just stare and smile, and then she would respond out loud.
Yep.
And then there's one moment he's like, you don't always have to read my mind. And then he would say something to her, and she's like, I know, honey. It was cute. I mean, the whole thing was just...
Like, see, that
It
was
was
it. See,
cute.
again, anything surrounding Jacob, just, it came alive.
Yeah.
And Newt wasn't so much, and neither was Newt's girl. And so even though they had, like, one really intense scene together where they were going to be executed for releasing the animals or letting the animals escape,
And for her knowing about it, and for them not
which was
obliviating
really
a
kind of
muggle
rough
and-
that they would execute them so
Yeah.
quickly for that stuff without so much as more of a trial. But they took her happy memories, put them in this, like, poison vat that
That
she
was
was
kind of
supposed
cool
to, like...
looking, though, the way they did that.
Yeah, but it was eerie. Anyway,
was
even
eerie.
with this intense scene of Newt fighting to save her, I don't know. I just... still, nothing happened there to connect me to her, to connect me to him, or to help me feel the chemistry between them. So, I mean, that was a negative there for me. What did you think of the ending? Well, first off, I didn't like the setup of this Obliviate Rain, where he had this potion. He talked about it one time in the movie. He didn't talk about what it was or what it was going to be for. Then he gives it to his weird griffin eagle-looking
Like
creature,
a hippogriff eagle.
and it flew into the sky and made Obliviate Rain.
Because he apparently, like, can be one with the weather, which you see him and he
I didn't
warns
get
him.
it.
I don't. Yeah, but I didn't really fully get it either. I would have liked them to have spent more time in general on the creatures. Not much, because I mean,
just a little more.
You got to keep the plot moving.
Yeah.
But it's like he had this one like bird eagle thing in his pocket that like curled up into a ball. But then he could put it on his hand and he could swing it around and it would grab things and it would do this and it would get big and it could fly around and then it would come back to him. And I still to this point don't know what that is. And I'm like,
cool.
But it was really cool.
The
like,
negative was
great.
we don't know anything about it.
I wish I knew what it was. And so there was little things like that where you see a couple times where it's like, I wish he would talk more about this. And they only did it on a couple of the different animals.
So what did you think of the Obliviate Rain and Jacob being forced to be obliviated by America's Ministry of Magic?
Well, basically, they did the Obliviate Rain to remove all the Muggles' memories that were in New York because of this crazy thing that happened at the end. But honestly, why didn't Newt put his buddy into his suitcase and get on the boat and go home? Because he gets on the boat and goes home after this.
Where in England, I guess they're more accepting.
Yeah, and he even says they're accepting of that.
Non-Muggle, Muggle relationships. So it's like,
And so that kind of, that bothered me.
Yeah.
But
it was kind of sweet when he was in his bakery that he finally started.
Yeah, and Newt gave him the silver eggs from one of his animals.
As collateral. But then the mind reading girl, I guess that's the same thing. When the mind reading girl came in and, just
and
smiled
she saw him and smiled at him, and then
he smiles back, and boom, that's where the movie ends. That was kind of sweet, that was nice. But at the same time,
it rounded it off for us.
Since there's going to be 4 more movies,
I hope he's back.
Well, he will be back, but it's like, why did they bother with erasing his memory? I guess for a dramatic ending, but I don't know. It was cool because I was on the edge of my seat, don't step into the rain, come up with another way, come up with a ruse.
But because it was required by their Ministry of Magic in New York, that's their law, and so I think the reason they did it is so that the girl could become an Auror again, and that Newt wouldn't get tried, and I can't remember what the love interest's name was, Molly May or something like that.
Are you talking about the mind reading girl?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
But she, they can get in big trouble if they didn't do it, and so they had to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's our overall views, taken in with our positives and negatives. What would you give this movie?
I'd give it a B, a solid B. I enjoyed it. I had a great time in the theater. I just wasn't, I don't know, there's little things like their 1920s feel talk that I felt like made it rough, and it was rough around the edges for me. So that's why it's a B. There's just a couple things the villain, there wasn't really a villain in this movie. I mean, there was a lot of little villains, but nothing. And Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, each book got stronger and stronger and stronger and more villainous as it went. So I'm hoping that's what they're doing with this, but that's my reason for a B.
I gave it a B+ because it was good, solid fun. A+ to a B+ is something I'd like to see again and own on Blu-ray. I definitely would like to add this to our Blu-ray collection of Harry Potter movies.
Again too.
I did thoroughly. I had a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did have my negatives. There were those things that kind of set me back, but beyond that, it was
fun to go back into the magical world.
It was, and it was fun to see the world get bigger. So it's definitely worth seeing on the big screen.
Yes, definitely.
If you saw Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, what would you give it? A+ through an F? Let us know in the comments. While you're there, hit the subscribe button and become a Durbanian. Be on top of the new videos coming out here like Thanksgiving. We're going to be doing a Thanksgiving edition, which I think is going to be really fun.
Yep.
Diving into movie characters and thinking about what are they thankful for this Thanksgiving.
And your spoiler-free talk.
Yes, you can check out the spoiler-free for this. Also, Laura and I ranked all 8 Harry Potter movies.
Yep, earlier this week.
Least to greatest, so you could check out our ranking of that. So all kinds of cool things to check out. Hit that subscribe button. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
Thank you for checking out Durbania.